Our today's topic is food and their nutrients. Do you have any idea about food? Foods are the basically products derived from two sources, plant sources and animal sources that can be taken into our body to yield the energy and derived nutrients from their plant sources and animal sources for maintenance of our life and the growth of the tissues. I explain the food in an other words. Food is the product that which nourishes our body, and food is anything that we eaten and drunk which meets our body's energy requirement and give the protection to our body and building our body and regulation of the many processes. Food is the raw material from which our bodies are made. Intake of the right amount of the food and the right kind of the food can ensure the good health and ultimately good nutrition, which may be evident in our appearances and emotional well-being and in our efficacy and repairing of the tissues. And there are different functions of food. First one is physiological functions of food. Second one is the social functions of food, and third one is the psychosocial functions of food. What is the physiological functions of food? In physiological functions of food, the body is to provide the energy. The body requires the energy to sustain and maintain the body different metabolic, involuntary and voluntary processes essential for the maintenance and continuance of the life. The energy needed is supplied by the oxidation of the consumed foods. When we eat a food, the food become a part of us. Most important function of the food is building of the body. Besides the building of the body, the food we eat, it also helps to maintain the structure of the body and replace the cells, different types of the cells of the body. It also regulates the activities of the body, such as I'm going to describe some regular activities of the body, such as beating of the heart, muscles contraction, blood clotting, thermoregulation means maintenance of the body temperature, removal of the waste product from the body, and increase our immune defense, which means that good food is very important for maintaining all the body functions properly. If we do not take good amount of food and right kind of food, we are unable to perform and maintain all these body activities. Food is very important to perform all these physiological functions of the body. Second function is social functions of food. Food has been a central point of our social existence. It has been a part of our social culture, religion life, and community. Special foods are distributed at the different occasions, either in the religious occasions, social occasions, and different community level occasions. Different types of food uh, performs different functions. Feeds are given at specific stages of life, such as birth, marriages, naming ceremonies of infants. Most of the religious festivals also call for feast and feeding of specific segments of the population. Food has been used and as a expression of friendship and social acceptance. It is also used as a symbol of happiness at certain events in our lives. For example, we celebrate our birth of our babies and our birthday parties and marriages. Food is a integral part of our social life. Social function of food is very important in our daily life. It gives us recreation, refreshment, and give time to get together or meetings and create a relaxed atmosphere. The menu for such get together, refreshments, and meetings should bring the people together rather than divide them. Such type of meetings, refreshments creates a harmony and unity. This basic aspects of the food should be considered in planning of menus for such occasions. It means that food is very important in our daily life. It gives us enjoyment, pleasure, happiness. Third one is the psychosocial functions of food. Food satisfying our physical and social requirements. Food satisfy our certain emotional requirements. These requirements include a sense of security, sense of attention, and sense of love. Familiar food make us feel secure. Sharing of food is a token of acceptance and the friendship. In a get together, we try unfamiliar foods and thus enlarge our food experience. It also must be noted that even a nutritionally balanced meal may not be satisfying to the individual if the food included are unfamiliar or distasteful to her. With time and repeated experiences, strange foods became familiar and new tastes are developed. These aspects are very imperative, very important in the acceptance of the food and must be considered in meal planning. When we plan the meal, when we are going to plan the meal, these aspects are very important in food acceptance, which are not only nutritionally adequate but also enjoyable and give the player and give the comfortable environment for the group for whom they are intended. Individual always decide what they eat, when they eat, and even whether to eat in highly personal ways. Often, selection of the food is based on the behavioral motives and social motives rather than on awareness of the nutritional importance of the food, which may affect good impact on our health and bad impact on our health. But many different food choices can be healthy ones, but other cannot be. Either nutritional awareness cannot make them for the good choices. Persons choose the foods is actually the basis. Food choices basis is actually the taste. They like certain flavors. Two widely shared preferences are for the sweetness of sugar and the tang of the salt. Liking high fat foods appear to be an other universally common preferences. Other preferences might be for the hot peppers, might be for the curry spices. Recent researches also just suggest that genetics may impact the individual's food preferences. Our personal preferences influence our food choices. For example, some individual feel pleasure experiences when eating a particular type of food. It is dependent on the sensory properties of the food, such as taste, smell, texture, and the appearances. Sweet and high fat foods have an undesirable sensory appeal. Sometimes individuals select the food items out of their habits. They eat the cereals every morning because they have always eaten the cereal for the breakfast. If they eat an egg with a cup of tea at an every morning, they have always been eaten egg and a cup of tea for the breakfast. Eating a familiar food and not having to make any decision can be confronting. That's why individual habits plays an important role in the selection of the foods. Our food choices are strongly influenced by our traditions. People eat the foods they grew up with that foods. They want to eat that food with the foods from they grew up. Every country and in fact every region of the country and every part of the country has its own typical foods and way of combining them into the meals. Our culture, our traditions are strongly influenced our food choices. We want to select those food with from where we grew up with that foods. Social interactions also play an important role in the selection of the food. Uh, Meals are social events, and the sharing of the food is part of that social. Social ethics, social customs, social traditions. Almost all these social traditions, customs, norms force the people to accept that drink and food offered by that meal. It is not possible for the host to consider all the food choices of the every individual. For example, when your friends are going to ordering the ice cream and pizza sort of things, burgers, and how can you refuse them to eat that burger and pizza, but if you want to eat a healthy meal. Social gatherings, social interactions made our choices too, made our acceptance too, and made our choices too. Food availability and food convenience also influence the individual food selection. People eat that foods that are easily accessible and easy to prepare and within their financial means. People always buy that food and always cook and prepare those foods that are easily accessible and come range into them. People always want to prepare those foods, those recipes which have only 4 to 6 to 7 ingredients and use 15 to 20 minutes to prepare that food item. Many ready-to-eat foods are available nowadays in the market, but they all are low in nutritional qualities. Emotional situations also influences our food choices, such as if we feel boredom or in the depression or in the anxiety state, we want to eat something to reduce our anxiety and depression. We find pleasure in eating and reduce if we want to reduce our anxiety and depression, we want to eat something to reduce our anxiety and depression and convert our depression. What's our emotional state falls at? Our emotional state decides our food choices, and eating in response to our emotions and overcome our emotions can easily lead to the obesity and overeating, but maybe at the appropriate times. Choices are also influenced by our values. What are the religious beliefs of individuals? What are the political views of individuals? And what are the environmental concerns of the individuals? All have the biggest impact on the individual food choices. For example, meat is halal in our religion Islam, but meat is prohibited to use in the Hinduism in Indian culture. They worship their cows. Most of the individuals, most of the peoples always buy those fruits, vegetables, and the dairy products available from their local market to save the fuel and environmental cost of the food, uh, rather than purchase the food items far away from their locality. What the people think about their weight and what they think about their images, these both things influence the food choices, food selection of the individual. Some people reduce the food intake and specific type of and specific amount of the food to improve their physical appearance and reduce their weight and avoid those important nutrients which are very important for their health. They believe that all these things might be detrimental for their health. Some individuals thought that they are obese, they are overweight, they impose something restricted upon them. These all things detrimental and uh, detrimental for their health and for their well-being. Health benefits also influence for the customers food choices. For example, functional foods. Functional foods are those foods that contain the physiological active compounds that provide the health benefits, specific type of health benefit beyond their nutrient contribution. Nowadays, certain type of diseases prevailing in our society. People nowadays always select those type of the food which provide the health benefit for them and prevent them from the different type of the diseases and cure them from the diseases. For example, calcium fortified milk is available in the market. The health claim they made is the calcium fortified milk is good for the osteoporosis. These fortified milk will improve the calcium status of that patients. Another example of the functional foods are gluten-free products that are available in the market. Gluten are the wheat proteins that individuals from which the individuals are allergic. To reduce the allergy of the individuals, gluten are removed from the wheat products. These all aspects influences our food choices. I think you are familiar now with the foods and their functions and different aspects that influences the individual food choices. Now the next topic is a nutrient. We are going to discuss about the nutrients. What is nutrients? Nutrients are chemical substances obtained from the food, either from the plant sources or from the animal sources, and that food used in the body to provide the energy and the building the materials and regulating the different body processes that support the growth and maintenance of the body tissues and repair of the body tissues. Nutrients may also reduces the risk of some different diseases. Food and their nutrients perform the different activities within your body. Even as you sit still, your body perform different processes even if you are not moving and you sit still. For example, your skin, which has covered you, is replaced entirely by new cells every 7 years, because first layer of skin, which is called the epidermis, has the keratinocytes. These keratinocytes always produce the keratin, which is the skin protein and which is the hardest protein of your body. And the other example is fat that is beneath your skin is not the same fat uh, that was there a year ago. After some time, that fat is not similar after the years ago. Another example is your old red blood cells, which is renewed after 120 days, and the entire lining of your digestive tract is renewed every 3 days. Your digestive tract lining is renewed after 3 days. These all functions are performed by the foods and the nutrients. If you deplete from the nutrients, it will be very difficult to maintaining your body function. The food you eat have the chemical substances are called the nutrients. These nutrients used in the body to provide the energy and support the growth and maintenance of the body tissues, repair of the body tissues, and provide the structural material. The food we eat, the body can drive all the energy, structural material, and regulating agents that it need from the foods we eat, which means that what we eat, what kind of the food we eat, body drive all its energy and the material and the regulating agents the body can derive from the food. What nutrients are present in the food and how they participate in all the body processes that keep the individual well and alive. Chemical composition of the food is the chemical analysis of the food. What the food is made of is actually the composition of the food. Most of the materials that food made are the carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. These are the basic macronutrients which are found in the foods. If you remove these three macronutrients from the food, you would find a tiny material of vitamins, minerals, and other compounds. Water, carbohydrate, lipids, proteins, vitamins, and some of the mineral uh, compounds found in the foods are the nutrients. That all are the nutrients of the food. That food constitutes are all the nutrients of the foods: carbohydrate, lipid, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. All are the nutrients of the food, and food is made from all these components. Food is basically composed of proteins, lipids, carbohydrate, vitamins, minerals, and water. These all are the nutrients that food composed of. Food also contains some non-nutrient components such as alcohol, phytochemicals, some additives, and pigments. Phytochemicals are non-nutrient compounds found in the foods that are derived from the plants that have the biological activity in the body. Non-nutrient compounds are those that are do not fit within the six classes of the nutrients that are the carbohydrate, fats, proteins, vitamin, minerals, and waters. Non-nutrient components do not fit within the six classes of the nutrients. And these non-nutrient components of food may be harmful and may be detrimental to the health and may be beneficial. Not all the non-nutrient components of the food are harmful, and not all the non-nutrient components of foods are beneficial for the health. That added to the foods to keep them fresh and enhance the food colors, their flavor, um, or texture. These food additives, when incorporate into the food items, they become the part of the food. Some pigments are also used in the food items to enhance their color and for the preservation and enhance their appearances. When these pigments are incorporated in the food, they become part of that food item. So the food are composed of nutrients and non-nutrient components. They all are present in the composition of the foods. When when the foods are composed, we always talk about the nutrients and the non-nutrient component of the food. Is your body composed of? Chemical analysis of your body show the composition of your body. Always show that it is made of material similar to those found in your food. A healthy individual, a healthy body, you can say that a healthy body contains about 90 pounds of water and about 30 pounds of fat. The other 30 pounds are mostly compounds containing proteins and the carbohydrates and major minerals of the bone, vitamins, minerals, um and incidental extras constitute a fraction of a compound. Basically, your body is composed of from that material similar to uh, those material found in your food. Your body is made from the protein, water, carbohydrate, major minerals, and vitamins, and all other nutrients of the food also present in your body. Your body is also composed of all that nutrients, all that materials from those found in your food. Your whole body is made up of the proteins, all hormones, all enzyme, tissues, all are you from head to toe, all body organs are made from the proteins. All type of the vitamins and all type of the minerals also present in your body and perform all the catabolic reactions and anabolic reactions which are necessary for the sustain of the life. Your body is composed of all the material those similar present in your food. Fat is also present under beneath your skin and protect the organ, insulate your body, and perform all basic functions to maintain your health and well-being. Now we analyze the nutrients chemically. The food contain the inorganic compounds and organic compounds. Inorganic compounds are those not containing the carbon or pertaining to living things, but organic compounds are the substances and the molecules that contain the carbon-carbon bonds and carbon-hydrogen bonds. But all foods are organic. Water and minerals are inorganic nutrients because they contain no carbon, but protein, carbohydrate, and fats are the organic compounds because they contain the carbon bonds, carbon hydrogen bonds, oxygen and hydrogen in their composition. Carbohydrates, fats, proteins are sometimes called the macronutrients. They are organic in nature. They contain the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen in their chemical composition. But vitamins and minerals are sometimes called the micronutrients, in which the minerals and water are inorganic in nature because they do not contain the carbon-carbon bond. The simplest of the nutrients are minerals. Each mineral is a chemical element. Its atoms are all alike. Its identity never changes. When it cooks, it never changes own identity. For example, iron remains iron when a food is cooked. When a person eats the food, when iron is become part of the RBCs, when the cell is break down and when the iron is lost from your body by excretion, the iron remains the iron. Minerals do not change its chemical identity, they remain the elements. Mineral does not change its chemical identity. They remain the same chemical identity even after the absorption, digestion, and excretion from the body. The next inorganic nutrient is water. The next simplest nutrient is now water, a compound made of two elements, hydrogen and oxygen, which contain no carbon in their chemical composition. The other four classes of the nutrients are more complexes, which include carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and vitamins. They all contain the carbon with hydrogen and oxygen and nitrogen. These all elements are present in living things. They are called the organic compounds, meaning alive. Protein and some vitamins also contain the nitrogen and may contain the other element as well, such as cobalt. I hope you now understand the difference between the inorganic nutrients of the food and the organic nutrients of the food, and the difference between the macronutrients of the foods and the micronutrients of the food, and their functions within the body. Now we discuss about some essential nutrients. Essential nutrients a person must obtain from the food because the body cannot make them from itself in sufficient quantity to meet the physiological needs. These essential nutrients are also called the indispensable nutrients. The nutrients that food must supply are called the essential nutrients. You must take these essential nutrients from your diet. The body is not able to synthesize these essential nutrients. About 40 nutrients are known to be essential for human being. For example, essential amino acids, which must be supplied from your diet. Body cannot make and cannot able to produce that essential amino acid. The body need and require those essential amino acid to produce and to generate the non-essential amino acids. Another example is the essential fatty acids. Body must be contain the essential fatty acid from the diets. Individual must supply the essential fatty acid from their food appropriately and accurately, because the body make the non-essential amino acid from the essential fatty acid. Of essential nutrient is very important from our diet. If an individual adequately supply the essential nutrients from their diet, body can make the non-essential nutrients from the essential nutrient and perform the all metabolic functions properly. In the body, three of the organic nutrients can be used to provide the energy. That is carbohydrate, fats and proteins. These energy yielding nutrients are provide the energy, which is essential for performing the different functions in the body. Vitamins, minerals and water do not yield the energy in the human bodies. Only macronutrients, which are carbohydrate, fats and proteins, provide the energy to the body. Micronutrients, minerals and vitamins are not provide the energy, and also water do not provide the energy to the body. Without these energy yielding nutrients, body is unable to perform its functions properly. If we supply adequate nutrient of these three compounds, body maintain its functions properly and run all the functions required to maintain the health and the well-being perform very well. Carbohydrate is the major source of energy in the body. If the carbohydrate is depleted from the diet, body break down its fat store to use the energy. When the fat is break down, it converted into the glycerol in three molecule of the fatty acid. Only glycerol is used for making the energy, but three fatty acids do not use for produce the energy. When the fat store is depleted, the body uses proteins to provide the fuel to the body. Adequate supply of the carbohydrate in the diet spare the proteins and fat in the body. Proteins perform the major functions in the body, making your body, if the carbohydrate is depleted, fat store is depleted, protein is used to produce the energy. Proteins do not perform their own functions. They just broke down to utilize into the energy. Energy that is released from the carbohydrates, fats and proteins can be measured in the calories. What is the calories? Do you know about calories? Calories is a unit by which energy is measured. Calories is a unit by which energy is measured. The energy released from the macronutrients, energy yielding nutrients, can be measured in calories. And calories are the unit by which energy is measured. And food energy is measured in kilocalories. 1000 calories equal to 1 kilocalorie. Do you understand that? 1 kilocalories is equivalent to the 1000 calories, and food energy is measured in the kilocalories. Food energy measured in kilocalories, but commonly called calories. When you read in magazines and another books that provides calories, understand that it means kilocalories. It talks about the kilocalories. You all must be clear that kilocalorie is not a constituent of food. It is not an element. It is not a nutrient, non-nutrient component of food. It is a measure of the potential energy in the foods. How much energy is provided by a food depends on how much fats, proteins and carbohydrate it contains. It means that amount of the carbohydrate, fats and proteins a food contain depends the amount of the energy it produces. When completely broke down these components in the body, a gram of carbohydrate provides the 4 kilocalories of energy, and a gram of the proteins also yields 4 kilocalories, but a gram of the fat yields the 9 kilocalories. Another substance of the food that contributes in energy production, that is alcohol. Alcohol is not a nutrient of the food because it interferes in growth of the body, maintenance of the body, and repair of the body. But it does yield the energy round about 7 kilocalories per gram. 1 gram of the alcohol yields the 7 kilocalories. When body metabolizes the alcohol, it yields the 7 kilocalories. Most food contains all these three energy yielding nutrients, as well as water, minerals, vitamins, and other non nutritive substances of the food. Thus, it is inaccurate to describe a food as its predominant nutrients. For example, to speak of the meat as protein or of the bread as carbohydrate. Meat and bread are food rich in these nutrients. Meat contains the water molecules, fat, different array of the vitamins, different kinds of the minerals, as well as the proteins. Carbohydrate rich certain foods contain the water, trace of the fats, little amount of protein and some vitamins and mineral in addition to the carbohydrate. Only a few foods are exception to this rule. The common ones being sugar and oil. This is not the correct concept that one food item which is rich in one energy yielding nutrients lack in other nutrients, other micronutrients or water content such as minerals and vitamins. The food which contain the carbohydrate also contain the vitamin, minerals and water contents, phytochemicals and other non-nutritive components and proteins and the food that provide the proteins also have the some amount of the fats, carbohydrates, some amount of the vitamins and provide the minerals. The body uses the energy yielding nutrients to fuel all its activities. When the body uses carbohydrate, fat or protein for energy, the bonds between these nutrients atom break. As the bond break between these molecules, they release the energy. Some of this energy is released as heat, but some is used to send the electrical impulses through the brain and the nerves to synthesize the body compounds and to move the muscles. The energy from the food supports every activity from quite simpler through to vigorous activity. If the body does not use these nutrients to fuel its current activities, it rearranges them into storage compound such as body fat to be used between the meals and overnight when fresh energy supplies run low. If more energy is consumed than expended, the result is an increase in energy store and weight gain. Similarly, if less energy is consumed than expended, the result is a decrease in energy store and weight loss. When consumed in excess of the energy need, even even alcohol, protein, and glucose can be converted to body fat and stored. Whatever you eat, when body fulfill its fuel requirement, the extra calories stored as body fat. Now we are going to calculate the energy available from a food. How we calculate the energy available from the food, what amount of the energy comes from the carbohydrate, what amount of the energy comes from the fat, and what amount of the energy comes from the proteins. How we calculate the energy available from the food. 1 gram of the carbohydrate, as you know, provide the 4 kilocalories, and proteins, 1 gram of the proteins provide the 4 kilocalories, and 1 molecule of fat provide 9 kilocalories. We just multiply these 4 kilocalories into the grams provided by the food is equal to the gives us the total kilocalories provided by from that specific type of the nutrient. For example, carbohydrate, if a food provide the carbohydrate 4 grams and a molecule of the carbohydrate provide the 4 kilocalories, then we multiply the 4 grams into the 4 kilocalories provide the 16 kilocalories. And for example, A protein molecule provide the 4 kilocalories, and a food contain the 9 gram of the proteins. Just we multiply the 9 grams into the 4 kilocalories is equal to the 36 kilocalories comes from the proteins. Here is an example for you. I am going to discuss an example to calculate the energy with all of you. Example is one slice of bread with 1 tablespoon of peanut butter, or it contains 16 gram carbohydrates, 7 grams protein, and 9 grams fat. How we calculate the energy from these three energy yielding nutrients? 1 gram of carbohydrate provide the 4 kilocalories. We are going to multiply the 16 into 4 provide the 64 kilocalories, and the food provide the 7 gram of proteins. Just we multiply the 7 into the 4 kilocalories because a molecule of the protein provide the 4 kilocalories. The protein gives us 28 kilocalories from the food, and the 9 gram of the proteins multiplied by the 9 kilocalories because a molecule of the fat provide the 9 kilocalories. We multiply the 9 grams into the 9 kilocalories per gram provided the 81 kilocalories. If we uh, if we multiply all these nutrients with their calorie content, these all provide the energy available from the food. If we sum up all these kilocalories, provide us the total kilocalories the food provide. Here is the energy density of two food items compared. What is energy density? Energy density is a measure of the energy a food provides relative to the amount of the food. Food with a high energy density delivers more kilocalories than the food with a low energy density. Both of these pictures show some breakfast options provide the 500 kilocalories, but the cereal with milk, fruit salad, scrambled egg, sausages, and jam offers three items as much food as the donuts. It has a lower energy density than the donuts. Donuts have the high energy density, provide the large amount of the energy as compared to the toast, sausages, and scrambled head. Selecting a variety of the food also help to ensure the nutrient adequacy. Here is vitamins. Vitamins are also organic, but they do not provide the energy. They facilitate the release of energy from carbohydrate, fat, and protein. These vitamins assist the metabolic reactions. There are 13 different vitamins uh, that plays the special roles in the body. For example, one vitamin enables the eyes to see in the dim light, and other helps protect the lungs from air pollution, and other vitamins helps to make the different kinds of hormones when you cut yourself. For example, when your body is injured, and one vitamin helps stops the bleeding, and another helps repair the skin. Vitamins help replace the old red blood cells in the lining of the digestive tract. Vitamins can function only if they are intact. but because they are complex organic molecules. Always remember that vitamins are complex organic molecules. They are vulnerable to destruction by heat, light, and chemical substances. They are destroyed by heat, light, and different chemical agents. When you're cooking something which have last which have different array of vitamins, for example you are going to cooking the vegetables, just take some strategies to cook these vegetables. For example, cook these vegetables at moderate temperature using the small amounts of water, and for a short time, uh, all helps to preserve the vitamins. Minerals are inorganic nutrient of the food. Some minerals are found in bodies different structures such as bones and teeth. Minerals are also found in the body fluids and influence their properties. Whatever the roles minerals have in the body, but they do not yield the energy. 16 minerals are known to be essential in the human nutrition. Other minerals are not essential nutrients but are important because they are environmental contaminant that displace the nutrient minerals from their workplace in the body, disrupting the body functions. Because minerals are inorganic, they are indestructible and need not to be handled with the special care that vitamins require. Vitamins are easily destructible by the heat, by the ultraviolet rays, but the minerals are stable. They do not destroy by the heat, ultraviolet rays like the vitamins. Minerals can be bounded by the substances that interfere with the body's ability to absorb them. They can also be lost during the food refining processes or during the cooking when they dissolve in the water that is discarded. When the food item is placed in the water for some times, mineral is dissolved in that water. After some time, food is out and water is discarded, and discarded water have the last amount of the various amounts of the minerals which is actually present in that food which is placed in the water. Water now is water. Water is indispensable and abundant, provides the environment in which all the body's activities are conducted. It participates in many metabolic reactions and supplies the medium for transporting the vital material to cell and waste products from them. Water itself is an essential nutrient and naturally carries many minerals which give it flavor. I hope you understand all the basic concepts of food, their basic functions, the food perform, the nutrients food contain, energy yielding nutrients, macronutrients, micronutrients. I hope you understand very well. Tomorrow we will discuss about the nutrition and malnutrition, different types of the malnutrition, global scenario about the malnutrition, and local scenarios of the malnutrition, how the malnutrition affects globally and locally. We all will visit about the global scenarios and the local scenarios. We will continue our lecture in next section, inshallah.